Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Climate Action and Disaster Preparedness discussion series. Today we are going to discuss about as a theme we are going to discuss protecting food security and rural livelihood through awareness and water management. In that discussion we are going to pay our attention on global weather patterns, changing of global weather patterns, then local weather patterns and their impact to our water management systems, and finally the agriculture. Recently we experienced adverse weather conditions in Sri Lanka, heavy downpours, and at the same time number of weather related disasters were reported from various parts of the country. And along with that we are going to discuss the changing of weather patterns, as I mentioned earlier, changing of weather patterns in Sri Lanka, because our number of our communities complain that the regular weather patterns in Sri Lanka are changing. That's one common complaint we get from our community, our rural villages, rural communities. So therefore, today we have a distinguished panel to discuss about these serious matters and educate our community, our stakeholders on matters related to climate change and what are the actions that we are going to take in this regard. So, I would like to welcome first Mr. KHMS Premalal. It's a veteran from the meteorological area. Especially he joined the meteorological department back in 1988, and later he culminated his service there as the Director General of Meteorology. Now currently he is serving as a consultant to the UN FAO, United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. His specialized area is climate change and disaster preparedness. And at the same time we have Mr. Ajit Vijaymanage, Director, Data Processing and Archival and Regional Officers of the Meteorological Department. He is also a veteran of 27 years experience in that particular field. At the same time, we have Dr. Aruni Abesekar, Assistant Director of Agriculture, Agro Climatology and Climate Change Division of the Natural Resources Management Center of the Department of Agriculture. And we have Mr. HMPSD Herath, Director Water Management, Irrigation Department. He is also he has wide range of activities in the field of irrigation, because he is responsible in water management of almost all reservoirs in Sri Lanka, and his activities expand related to the water management area in various almost all parts of Sri Lanka, and I would like to welcome you all. So, first Mr. Premalal, we are going to start our discussion with you. The first curtain raiser question comes to you. So, first I would like to ask about the current status of this global weather pattern change, or the common term as climate change. So, what can you say about the current status of this scenario?
Okay, thank you, Prasad. So, I start from the climate change. So, climate change is not the local phenomena, that is global phenomena. So, that is mainly happening due to the increasing of the concentration of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide and methane. So, those are the main greenhouse gases, and what is happening in the atmosphere. So, we receive radiation, that's short-wave radiation from the sun, and we emit, that the surface emit long-wave radiation, and the special phenomena of these greenhouse gases are absorb this low level radiation. So because of that, the global, I mean that the atmosphere is getting warming. So that is the main reason for the global warming. So far, I mean that since pre-industrial era, so temperature has been risen by nearly 1.1 degree globally. So it is, I mean that in Sri Lanka it is little change, almost same actually. Even Sri Lanka it is 1 degree Celsius increasing since 1750. That is a pre-industrial era. So what is happening with that actually? So we get more heat waves. I mean that in Sri Lanka we are not getting heat waves, but we are getting frequently we are getting high temperature events. So Met Department is giving that forecast for the high temperatures, especially March, April, May, and so the other countries like Bangladesh, India, especially during the summer, so they are getting heat waves. Not only I mean that this tropical region, even for the high latitude, the mid latitude, right? Even European sector, so they also getting I mean that heat waves, especially due to this global warming. So those are about global warming. So what is happening with this? The whole climate, I mean the climate system also changing. So climate system is not just atmosphere. This is a complex situation, complex phenomena. So it includes atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and the other one cryosphere. So cryosphere is ice and glaciers. Lithosphere is I mean that the solid part of the I mean that earth, and atmosphere that gaseous state, and hydrosphere is water, right? So those spheres also change it with these greenhouse gases. That is why we are getting that some phenomena like El Nino, La Nina. So earlier, so it was I mean that established every 3 to 7 years. So that is the I mean that frequency of El Nino and La Nina. So we commonly we call ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. But nowadays actually, so we get to that every year either El Nino and La Nina. So because of that actually with this El Nino and La Nina, so however all I mean that the global weather pattern is changing. For example, if during the El Nino, so we get Sri Lanka we get southwest monsoon season we get dry condition, and second in the monsoon we get wet condition, I mean that heavy rainfall. When the La Nina becomes strong, so we get the other way, I mean that southwest monsoon we get dry condition, we get wet condition, and second in the monsoon we get dry condition. So those are the global impacts from that the global I mean that change in this climate system due to climate change. So El Nino and La Nina is not the impact of climate change, but that the frequency is changing due to climate change. So that is one thing. The other one, so there are many system like that what we call the for that actually at ocean atmospheric system, Indian Ocean dipole, that also impact in Sri Lankan weather, right? So that is regional phenomena. Even it is regional phenomena, it also impact in Sri Lankan weather. So we get that drought condition as well as flood condition with this phenomena. So that is one thing that the when we talk about I mean the global perspective. And the other one, change in extreme weather condition, right? So cyclones, storms, so those are extreme weather condition. So those weather condition also getting I mean that the not the frequency actually. So what the research I mean the research finding gives, the frequency of cyclone and storms are not changing. I mean that frequency that much that is not much changing, but the severity or the strength of cyclones are getting strong. Because of that, so we get the strong winds, right? So many damages due to strong is not only the I mean that land area, even for the fishery sector. So those are much vulnerable from that kind of I mean that storms or cyclones. So that is the other way. And the other one actually globally, when we talk about the global situation, the melting glaciers and ice caps. So because of that actually our sea level is rising. So not only melting glaciers and ice caps, even that when the heat absorb the ocean also expanding. Because of that the sea level also rising. So the current rising rate is 3.7 millimeter per year. That is the current rate of change in sea level. So because of that actually we get coastal inundation, right? Seawater, saltwater intrusion to our freshwater streams, and also submersion of small island nation. That is the biggest problem for the when we talk about the global level, right? So other one, the ocean changes. What is happening? That the atmosphere is getting more heat, and out of the whole heat, the 90% of the heat absorbed by the ocean. Because of that, ocean is getting more warmer. It is highly impact for the fish habitats, right? And the carbon dioxide, that is one of the greenhouse gas, that also absorbed by the ocean. Nearly 25% of carbon dioxide is absorbed by the ocean. Because of that, the ocean acidification is increasing. That is a big threat to the coral bleach, coral reef. So bleaching coral reef and fish habitats, right? So those are the impact for the impact from climate change for the nation. And the other one, ecosystem and biodiversity. So we get that frequent forest fire due to dry weather condition, and pest outbreaks, and also invasive species, right? So those are some impact for the ecosystem and biodiversity loss. And the other one, socio-economic and health impacts. So so now we get that frequent, that after northeast monsoon and even southwest monsoon, so we get dengue outbreak. Not on Sri Lanka, even not only Sri Lanka, most of the country. So this is happening, the vector-borne disease and water-borne diseases. So those are the main impacts from climate change. So in addition, extreme weather events, I actually even explained about extreme weather events. So we get more frequent flood and drought. I think you have heard about when you go to the website. So you can see that the recent floods, Yemen flood, Haiti flood, Lao floods, so all happened in 2025. So there are many flood events. Not only that, Syria heat waves, that also happened that very recently, last year. So those are the that impacts, that global impacts from climate change.
Thank you, Mr. Premlal. You brought this discussion to a very important point. Mr. Ajit, now he mentioned about El Nino and La Nina. So what can you say about the current status of Sri Lanka's weather pattern? What are the weather patterns now we are experiencing?
Yeah, thank you, Prasad. Yeah, actually, that Mr. Premalal explained very well in global climate system. And if we consider Sri Lanka, actually, normally not only Sri Lanka, our region mainly affect two monsoons, southwest monsoon and northeast monsoon. But when we consider Sri Lanka, we consider there are another two seasons, like a transition period of one monsoon to another, we call intermonsoon. That there are two intermonsoons experienced in Sri Lanka. We call the first intermonsoon March, April, then second intermonsoon October, November. Currently we are in now second intermonsoon period. Normally intermonsoon period we get rain like morning time, that daytime we get sunny weather, that evening experience thunder showers. But in these days it's different. Last time you know that end of October we were having like morning also showers, is due to that some low level disturbance, depressions, such kind of systems. When we consider like Sri Lanka weather, that we are experiencing that two monsoons, we call southwest monsoon and northeast monsoon. Southwest monsoon from May to September, then northeast monsoon December to February. These periods actually, southwest monsoon, we received more rains in the southwestern part of Sri Lanka, and northeast monsoon, northern part and eastern part, we get more rains. We know that when we consider farming sector, it is mentioned there are two seasons we call Yala and Maha. Yala start from March to September, then Maha then from October to March. We know that this past decades we were having like some changes in monsoon. That start of the monsoon sometimes it delay. Not only monsoon, intermonsoon also. Normally first intermonsoon start March, then end of April. Then
farmers actually they complain about this thing, Mr. Ajit.
Yes, yeah. That actually, that first intermonsoon normally start in March, but it's some days it will delay. It's due to that farmers preparing landing in March, then it needs some more rain. But when we expect like delay rainfall, then it will affect for the farming sector. It's not only intermonsoon, first intermonsoon, it also second intermonsoon also we are experiencing like delay of that getting start that second intermonsoon. It also will affect for that farming sector. Those are the things actually when we consider like the changes. Not only that, that annual variability of the rainfall total. We know that nearly 1,860 average rainfall we received all over the country. But when we consider like last decade, we are having like some years we get more than 2,300, 2,000 like this total annual rainfall. This also some annual rainfall variability. Also we know that farmers have like their traditional knowledge, but traditional knowledge they know which kind of rain will occur this period like this. But it also now changing. They are also calling us. They always keep contact with the Met Department because they know now it's not much valid for this period. Then it's also that when we consider temperature, the diurnal variation, that means day temperature and night temperature difference. Before it is like there is some value. Now it's also now decreasing. It also will affect for the agricultural sector. The diurnal variation is gradually decreasing. It will affect some main crops as well as some other crops. It will explain maybe Dr. Aruni. Then another thing actually that rainfall variability, when we consider like high extensive rainfall, the rainfall intensity, it will increase. Normally also that consecutive dry days and consecutive wet days. That consecutive dry days also now increasing, not significantly, but there are some slight increase we have find. Then another thing actually that consecutive wet days also increasing. That also we know before that our wet zone is get more wet. Dry zone also before we said more dry, but fast studies we found that there are some dry zones also rainy days will increase. This also will affect for the farming sector. These are the things actually currently on.
Yes, Mr. Ajit. Now, earlier Mr. Premalal mentioned about the El Nino and La Nina. So, what are the impact of those two to Sri Lanka according to your knowledge?
Yeah, actually El Nino, La Nina, that Southern Oscillation Index, and also some Indian Ocean Dipole, and also MJO, Madden-Julian Oscillation. These things also affect for our climate. Actually, due to that El Nino period, we get sometimes more rain. It is not, we don't have like a direct one-to-one relationships with the El Nino and Southern Oscillation with Sri Lanka weather, but there it also that depends. Sometimes in El Nino period, that due to that change, it is we get sometimes less rainfall. Then these are the things also in happening. It will be happen in future.
Yes. Dr. Aruni, now now the one of main objectives of our discussion is to talk about the food security. So, food security directly involved with the farming sector, and the farming sector in Sri Lanka highly depend on the our rain and weather patterns. So, Dr. Aruni, can you mention about the current impact of climate, especially the climate change in our agricultural sector, in our farming?
Yes, actually first thank you Mr. Prasad, and actually Mr. Premalal and Mr. Ajit correctly mentioned about the weather pattern in Sri Lanka. Actually based on this weather pattern, actually normally as they said, we have a pattern of agricultural activities also. So as Mr. Ajit mentioned, we start our major seasons as actually major seasons mainly based on our staple food rice, and these major seasons mainly based on our we start our with our intermonsoon rains. Then we do our cultivation activities with this intermonsoon rain, and we continue the cultivation season with the monsoon rains, and at the tail end of these monsoon rains, normally we plan our harvesting activities. However, with the actually impact of climate change, now as he said, we observe some mainly the onset of the season has changed. Actually, sometimes it can be delayed, or sometimes we receive rains in advance. So due to that, we have a lot of problems when we are planning our and continuing.
I remember at the beginning of this year, farmers they were about to harvest their rice crops, but ultimately sudden floods came and destroyed number of paddy fields at the beginning of this year, and I think last year and the December last year and in January this year, I think in that period this thing happened.
Yes, actually we experienced this situation in last consecutive seasons. I think 6 to 7 seasons. When we plan our harvesting periods, we receive some rains. Actually, in addition to this onset and harvesting period also, we normally when we continuing the season, sometimes we experience some continuous dry periods, that is we call dry spells. We can remember the Udawalawe incident in 2023, no? Actually at the second half of that 2023 yellow season, we could not continue our harvesting activities successfully because of the water scarcity situation. And again, sometimes we experience some intense short duration rain, unexpected rain within the season. A good example is last Maha season, 2020. 3 and 3-5 last Maha season, 2023-24 Maha season. Actually during that season, we remember due to the Fengal cyclone, we receive higher amount of rainfall within 3 days. I think November 23 to 26. During this period, we receive higher rains. Due
Flash
to that,
floods, we got flash floods.
yeah,
Yes.
and due to that, actually in agriculture sector, we had to face lot of problems, lot of our harvest, actually our crop damages were there, and again in some areas we have to do resowing, and in some paddy lands we have to actually give up the season, like that way. So these kind of things mainly related to the erratic rainfall. In addition, due to the temperature changes also, actually in agriculture sector, normally our crops are very sensitive to the temperature changes, especially if we receive actually extreme temperature within the flowering stage or reproductive stage, it is directly impact the yield. And again, it directly impact to the pest outbreaks also. Temperature increase, and again there are another weather parameters like evaporation. We know that with the evaporation, lot of actually I think Mr. Herath mentioned about the water losses. At the same time, it increase the soil actually soil moisture level. It impact the soil moisture level. At the same time, sometimes with the actually high the other in the other side high RH we call relative humidity. Due to that, some actually some diseases like fungal disease will increase. Those observations are normally we experience when we do our agricultural activities.
Yes. Mr. Herath, now you can mention about the impact of these situations to your area, water management, because reservoirs are sensitive to this type of extreme weather patterns, extreme rain, and especially the rainy conditions. So, what can you say about this, the area related to you?
Yeah, I bit explain about the first that how to that our scheme design or whatever that irrigation scheme design or reservoir design. Actually, first we will calculate or we will calculate the amount of water required for particular plant. For that one we calculate, we call it as a evapotranspiration. That means plant get water from the soil and that evaporate into the air. So that quantity we want to calculate. That is mainly depend on temperature, humidity, wind speed, solar radiation, sunshine hours, those things. So if that climate changes happen, these values will be changed. So in most of irrigation scheme that is developed or designed in 1950, 60, somewhere around. So now that climate changes, that temperature, those things are changed. So that whatever that calculated values for this plant requirement, now these are changing. So that is the one problem we are facing now, because in early days that may be per 1 day 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter. Now it's become 6 or 7 millimeter. Like that way, that is happening. So so in our design parameters also affected. That means our scheme management and water management works are very difficult in that situation with that climate change.
In that case, you mentioned about the old reservoirs like built in 1915 and 16, but we have number of reservoirs belong to ancient periods built by our kings. So what's the situation of that reservoirs? They turning them into coping them with the current weather pattern systems.
Yeah, actually those reservoirs also renovated in 1950, 40 after independence. All the reservoirs are renovated, and some schemes that total capacity is increased. So like that is now that design work is more related to 1950, 60 climatic pattern. Now actually now after 60 or 70 years, that pattern is changed. Normally when we design a reservoir or scheme, we analyze the past 30-year rainfall pattern or climatic conditions. So if that rainfall pattern change, that our reservoir capacities may not sufficient for that expected irrigable area. Like that way, actually that climate change will affect our day-to-day water management works.
Yes, next set of questions also come to you, because we focus more on the food security. So, Dr. Aruni, can you mention about the ways and means to mitigate this situation, especially taking care of the climate resilient agriculture? Because you mentioned about our crops are more sensitive to temperature, but in the world now they are developing new crops, that climate resilient crops, the crops which can bear more heat and adverse impacts like salination and all these things. So what can you say about Sri Lanka's current drive in climate resilient agriculture?
Actually, our Department of Agriculture also have involved in a lot of climate resilience activities present. And first of all, we have to consider about the tolerant varieties. We produce some heat tolerant varieties, at the same time flood tolerant varieties, and again, as you said, for salinity problem, salinity tolerant varieties also there. As an example, if we consider sometimes that drought tolerant varieties, in our actually we can address it 2 ways. That is, one is drought escaping. If we say, as we discussed, if the season is somewhat delayed, if we get rainfall delayed for 2 weeks or 1 month, then if we do the cultivation activities as planned previously with the 3.5 month rice variety or something, then our harvesting period period also extend to another 2 weeks or 1 month, like that way. So we advise our farmers to go for short age rice varieties. For that, we produce some short age rice varieties such as 2 and 2.5 month varieties, BG 251, like those varieties. And again, for heat resistant varieties are there also. Those varieties can withstand with low soil moisture levels. Again, some varieties like BG 277 and BG, that is 2 and 3.5 month rice variety, and again BG the 314. Those are produced by our Rice Research and Development Institute. And again 8345 is salinity tolerant variety. Like that way, for another crops, not only paddy, for maize and other field crops also, there are some tolerant varieties. In addition to that, actually we do our agricultural practices, actually, especially for if we take paddy, it is very water loving, that is we call it a semi-aquatic plant. For we always try to reduce the amount, or we try to save the amount of water we use during the cultivation season. For that, we do some actually agronomic practices, like we instead of doing direct broadcasting, we choose transplanting, or there are seedling broadcasting also, we call parachute method. Those methods will save some amount of water rather than direct broadcasting. And again, sometimes there are some water saving methods like alternating wetting and drying method. Actually, in that kind of methods, we give the necessary amount of water to the plant and reduce or cut off the waste water. And again, some some irrigation systems, micro irrigation systems like sprinkler irrigation and drip irrigation. From these system methods also, we give the required amount of water to the plant, and we reduce the wasting of water. And again, there are some other cultivation practices like dry sowing. We practice in some areas like farmers doing rain-fed agriculture and some mine irrigation systems. They actually in our normal land preparation, we take 3 months period with specific events that takes higher amount of water. So in some areas, as I mentioned, they just do the ploughing and broadcasted seed and allow these seeds to broadcast with the rain when rain comes, like that way. And again, there are some actually in the department, we always promote our farmers to avoid staggered cultivation. And the water issuing departments like irrigation and Mahavali, then and again the Department of Agrarian Development, they issue some water. But if farmers, there are some water issuing schedules. If farmers do not benefit those, actually they do not follow those timetables, then there are huge water loss can be resulted. So and there are some other different agronomic practices like integrated plant and nutrition management. There are a lot of things actually related to these actually water saving techniques, as same as when these adverse climate effect impact the agriculture sector.
Yes, Mr. Herat.
Yeah.
Now, when the Department of Agriculture, the Minister of Agriculture, and our agro scientists, when they introduce new kind of like the climate resilient paddy or any that kind of crop, or any method, new method into the farming system, you have a daunting task of changing your water managing systems according to new methods. So how do you face that challenge? Dr. Aruni mentioned about everything connect with the water. So now the next step goes towards you. So what are the measures that your department adopting to face these challenges?
Yeah, actually, bit explain this way. when we issue in the water, we are calculating the water duty. Water duty means that amount of water required for particular season. Now actually that is around 1 meter, 1.2 meter for paddy. But according to this climate change and whatever the new scenarios, we want to reduce that water duty. For that one, we are using different techniques. That means like we want to improve our application efficiency of water. That means we want to supply whatever the amount of water, not a large amount of water. Normally we are used to use that flooding the paddy land and use that, but in future or coming years we want to go for that new technology. That means what Dr. Aruni said, that alternative wetting and drying method. That means we are providing only required amount water for that paddy. That also help for that climate changing because that method that reduce the methane emission or something like that way. So we are now we are changing that cultivation pattern. That cultivation pattern means water issuing pattern. In addition to that, at now presently our conveyance losses, that means when we transfer water from reservoir to paddy field, that is around 40% in average. So we want to reduce that one also. For that one we are introducing new conveyance system like pressure flow, pipe flow under gravity and pressure. In addition to that, existing canal system, we want to concrete a door from that method we can reduce that infiltration and evaporation losses. Like that way we are trying to save in the amount of water issuing for the cultivation. In addition to that, newly we are trying to adjust that water footprint. That means the amount of water we use for produce the 1 kilogram of paddy or other agricultural product. If we go for that higher footprint, that means we are using less amount of water and get more yield. For that one we are trying to, because that will help also the saving some amount of water for the next season or other drinking purpose or other purposes.
Yes. Now I would like to turn towards Mr. Ajit Vijaymanage. Mr. Ajit, can you explain us methods used by the Met Department to identify the changing weather patterns around Sri Lanka? What are the methods that you use?
Sri Lanka actually we have in our Met Department of Meteorology, we are having 24 meteorological regional stations. Apart of that, we are having that nearly 400-500 rain gauge stations. That places we measure only rainfall. Actually, we measure those data every 3 hours. That our main regional stations. Those data we collect. That is, there are some few parameters: rainfall, temperature, then humidity, wind speed. That, as Mr. Heras says, those parameters we collected. Not only that, actually region-wise we collect that India ocean data. We are actually lack of ocean data for our department. That when we collect data, same times we transmit those data to Delhi and globe. And these data actually we use for that identify day-to-day that like real-time weather. Not only that, actually we collect that data from through internet, leading centers model forecast, numerical weather predictions, that for that short range weather forecasting, and also climatic model, that for the seasonal forecasting. That the current pattern we normally we recognize by using that climatic model. And that we are actually we have experience that we know that when we are in southwest monsoon period, we know that which area will get rain. We have some idea about that. But you know that these days that Aruni says like this, inter-monsoon period, southwest monsoon period, sometimes monsoon will delay, sometimes monsoon will get advanced. This will affect some farmers and most of the planning sectors in the country. We are when we use those systems to identify weather pattern, as Mr. Premalal says, we consider that global parameters that like El Nino Southern Oscillation Index, and Indian Ocean Dipole, and also some Madden-Julian observation, MJO. These phenomenon also, the spaces we consider. When we study, when we analyze those things, we will have some current idea about average rainfall pattern for this period like this. With that, we analyze that parameters, global parameters as well as local parameters. After we analyze, we will issue some day-to-day forecast for that weather forecast as well as seasonal forecast, climatic forecast for the what will happen for the next month, for next 3 months, like this. That seasonal forecast we issue to climate agriculture department as well as irrigation department and all other stakeholders. They will plan using that situations. Normally we identify the weathers using these phenomena.
Yes. Now this question is also for you. It is a supplementary question. Now you mentioned about the data. The most valuable part is data. So there are a number of this whole sector is also rapidly developing due to the new technology, AI, and all these things. So what are the future and current and future plans to upgrade our systems according to the current development in the global technological aspect, because you directly deal with data?
Yes, yeah. You know that in Sri Lanka, I told that we collect data manually, and also we are having like automatic weather stations distributed all over the country. But you know that those data not enough for the giving that weather forecast, because weather is not confined like the limited area. If we consider Sri Lanka weather will affect, you know that all the region, Bay of Bengal, you know that if there is something happen in the Bay of Bengal, it will directly or indirectly affect Sri Lanka weather. Not only Bay of Bengal, Arabian Ocean also, if there is something happen, it will some disturbances, low level depression, such kind of tropical cyclone will affect our weather. And we need to identify that, you know, Sri Lanka, we don't have Doppler weather system. We were trying to install one, but it was failed. But in these days, that under JICA project, it is started installing that one Doppler radar in Puttalam, our MET stations. Then also in these days, it is going on one CRESS MPA project, World Bank funded project, that climate resilience multi-phase project. Under that project, actually, they will improve our services in the department with the forecasting ability, as well as we will have in future better equipment also. We will equip like automatic weather stations as well as automatic rain gauge stations all over the country. Then after we having like weather Doppler radar and some automated weather stations, then we will be able to provide like much better forecast than what we are doing now. I think you know that where Doppler radar system will be installed, it will finish into 2027, mid of 2027. Also that World Bank project will end next year, December 31st. After that, somewhat we will be moved to like new generation.
Yes, another aspect of our discussion is to talk about awareness. Now, we need to educate the ground level, our farming community, about the new changes, weather pattern changes, and the impact of the climate change, and the new crops about you mentioned. So, Dr. Aruni, can you tell us what are the ways and means that you use to create awareness among our farming community?
Yes, actually, I can start from the place where Mr. Ajit stops. Actually, as he said, actually our main planning and all the other activities mainly based on the weather forecast and coming weather pattern. Actually, we have, as I always mentioned, and Mr. Herath, lot of technology developed and some another information related to the agriculture, agricultural practices, and how we can save our crop with the climate adverse climate impact. But it is very important to give these messages and actually and at the correct time to the correct person or people, that is the farmer community, that is a grassroots level. In agriculture sector we do a lot of means, we have a lot of means to convey these messages. One is agrometeorological advisory service. Actually, based on the weather information given by the Department of Meteorology weather forecast, we produce an agrometeorological advisory. For that, all the stakeholders, Irrigation Department, Mahawali Authority of Sri Lanka, and Department of Agrarian Development, and other relevant subject specialists in the agriculture field is involved in producing this set of recommendations. For that, during producing this document, we consider the level of the crop in the field and other water issues and forecast and all that. Then we give set of recommendations for farmer community to how do we overcome these climate related issues using the technology we already discussed. We issue this weather information, actually agromet advisories, in every month in both Sinhala and Tamil language as posters in simpler manner, and for policy decision level in detailed document in English medium. And again, all this information and technology we have to convey to the farmer community, so that we use different means in agriculture sector, like all the informations are there in our agriculture website, and again we use some Facebook page and some media platforms, social media platforms we use to convey this information. In addition to that, there is a toll-free telephone service in agriculture department, 1920. Most of the farmers used to give direct calls, and we connect them with the relevant subject specialist, and they can directly answer the questions like that way. In addition to that, we produce several posters, the booklets and those kind of reading materials also. And again, in the department we have a lot of field actually training programs and field demonstrations, and discuss. As an example, if we consider how we can implement the micro irrigation system, then we give those technical know-how to the farmer community. We demonstrate how to actually implement it in the field, how to buy these things and how to handle these things and continue with these equipments and all that. We educated them, use these kind of actually field training programs. In addition to that, actually there are a lot of other means also there in the agriculture sector, like some actually we visit those actually if there is some actually sometimes we have some meetings, provincial technical working group meetings and all that. There are some specific questions related to issues for farmer community and field level officers. Actually in agriculture sector, most of the knowledge travel to the farmer community through field level officers. So when we get those kind of information from them, our officers directly go visit to the fields and address those things. However, there are some gaps. Still we have some gaps. So most of the things we identify is the correct knowledge is not going to the correct person at the correct time. So we are still developing these means to actually it's better we have some climate field schools like things, we can develop those things, and we can educate actually the education how to understand these things. As an example, if we get a weather forecast. If we do not understand it correctly, it will make harmful effects. As an example, we have already talked about El Nino effect. Normally when El Nino, when word comes to the mind, all the people think, then drought will come to Sri Lanka. No, it will not happen. As Mr. Ajit mentioned, during El Nino periods, our second winter monsoon, we experience higher rainfall. Then it's very easy to continue the season, and again sometimes the following yellow season also. So we have to educate them and in the correct manner, and again we have to change their attitudes. Sometimes although we give the knowledge and technology and information, they just ignore this information and do not follow those things. They do not trust it. So we have to improve their awareness also.
Okay. Yeah, very challenging task. Actually, then we have to think about the water management area, another challenging area, because Mr. Herath, we know time to time there are conflicts sometimes. Farmers, they ask more water, then they complain that they don't get enough water to cultivate. All kind of things comes to media when we report about these matters and the issues in farming area. So, Mr. Herath, what are the ways and means that you use to coordinate with farmers and educate them, create awareness among them for better water management system?
Yeah, actually now Irrigation Department and Mahawali Authority, all the water related institute, they are planning, they pre-planning the how to use the available water for throughout the Sri Lankan effectively. That is for that one. Normally under Mahawali scheme conduct the water panel, and that water panel, all the water stakeholders come there and farm leaders, everybody's come there. Then we decided when we want to start the cultivation season, particular scheme, and when we stop the work. Like that way we will take a decision. But in some cases, some areas, sometime if we predict the rainfall started in next 15th, 17th or something like, but that is not happen. Then some people may not go for cultivation, they are delaying, they are thinking, even we issuing water, they are thinking we want to start when rain started. Like that way, that cultivation starting is delayed. Then some area they started, some area not started. That means same irrigation scheme. So water management is bit difficult in that type of scenarios, because even if we think we stop the today, but some area is not yield yet. So we want to issue additional water. So that will affect our next season. That means next season or third cultivation season or drinking water, whatever the water usage, all the people are affected. So it's better to stick the cultivation decisions. That means when we start the cultivation this day, we stop this day, like we want to stick that dates. That's the main thing. In addition to that, actually we want to we want to educate farmers about the amount of water they want to use. Sometimes most of farmers think if we got more water, we get more yield, but is that not happening? So we want to educate at that, and we want to change the attitude. Actually now most of irrigation schemes, people follow this our decisions, but some area this problem is we are facing. So we want to go for that strict decisions, and we want to stick to that particular date for cultivation seasons.
Yes. Finally, we come to Mr. Premalal, because Mr. Premalal has a lot of information related to global action. So, Mr. Premalal, how does the United Nations system and the global community support the countries on climate resilience? And you can mention especially what are the things happen in Sri Lanka, what are the projects that are going in Sri Lanka according to your knowledge under the UN system to support Sri Lanka in the climate resilient farming and other activities, fisheries maybe, and at the same time what are the actions that are being taken by the international community to support Sri Lanka in the disaster and weather related sector as well?
Yes, Prasad. So I started from that we started the discussion by explaining climate change, right? So Sri Lanka is impacting climate change, I mean that very heavily, but we are not emitting much greenhouse gases compared with the other developed countries. So right, we are emitting less carbon and less greenhouse gas emission, but we are highly impacted country. Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, you know that we all developing countries. So to support mitigate the impact, that means you know that adaptation to climate change and mitigation for climate change, that is to reduce greenhouse gas emission. So now the internationally established funding sources, the one is Green Climate Fund. So the Green Climate Fund is providing climate grants and also loans, soft loan for the developing countries for adaptation and mitigation. That is one. And the other one is Adaptation Fund, that also providing grant for the to adapt for the climate change, right? And the other one, Global Environmental Facility, that is that generally that is focusing environmental impacts, but not for the not for the climate change impacts. So those are the main funding sources available at the international level. In addition, there are some bilateral agreement project, right? One is the World Bank. World Bank, so some years back, actually I think 2017, so they have given not grant, loan for climate resilient improving project, that is to mitigate riverine floods in several river basins, right? Now it has upgraded as CRESS MPA project. So now they are providing grants to modernize Met Department, Disaster Management Center and related agencies. The other one, Agriculture Modernization Project, that also completed now, that also conducted under World Bank loan. That is one, that bilateral agreement project. The other one, Asian Development Bank, that also providing loan for the climate resilience. The other one, USAID project, USAID, now it has closed. But till very recent, they have provided funds for the climate resilient. There was one project, Climate Adaptation Fund. The funds has given by the USAID. So those are basic, funding sources available internationally. So I will explain, that what are the project we have conducted. In Sri Lanka conducted under different projects.
Yes,
the first
you
one,
can mention about your agency, the agency that you are working for, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations.
Yeah, I start from the UNDP.
Yeah.
So there was one project started in 2017. That was the first Green Climate Fund project. So that is climate resilient integrated water management project, focusing 3 river basins, Mioya, Yarnoya and Mallatoya, for 7 districts in the northern and north central part. So the main features of features of that project is rehabilitation of cascade system and village irrigation schemes across Anuradhapura, Vavuniya, Kurunegala, Mena, Putlam, Trincomalee and Polonnaru district. The other one, addressing food security, providing agromet advisories. Dr. Arun also mentioned that. So what we have done, actually, we provided agromet advisories. That is, how the agriculture practices should do according to the forecast given by the Met Department. And we train farmers under that project, and also technical know-how to increase the production of agriculture and community water management practices. So those are the main features of that project. Now that it has been completed in this very recently it has been completed. That is one project, and that is one of the main project. And the other one, FAO, that climate resilient and food security initiatives, right? Under FAO there were many projects, and the recent project is climate resilient fisheries and food loss reduction project. So, that is actually the bilateral agreement project, the funds given by the Norway government. So, that is to improve climate resilience for the fishery sector. So, under that project we built 2 climate resilient boat. So, we were talking about the climate resilient agriculture and others. Now, we developed, I mean that we manufactured 2 climate resilient boats. Those are not capsized and unsinkable and very stable boats. So, it has already handed over to the government. So, we have changed that the shape of the boat and also the buoyancy factor. So, we increased that one. So, it is now functioning, that one is in Jaffna and other one is Berula. The other one actually, so we introduce one part for the multi-day boats. That is, that we fix into the front of the multi-day boats. So, that is what they call bulbous bow. So, with that actually the fuel consumption can be reduced. I mean that the wave resistance, the fuel consumption by 11 to 13%. So, we have done the calculation and we observed that the fuel consumption can be, I mean that increase by decrease by 11 to 13%, right. And the other one, reducing food loss and waste, right. So, I mean that under that project we introduce a cooling system and AI powered mobile application, what we call actually AI Malua. So, just by getting the picture of the eye of the fish, so we can identify the grade of the fish. I mean that whether it is A quality, B quality or C, the quality C, the bad or good quality. And the fish loss and waste assessment also done. So, we have done that several activities under that project, and now we developed the project for Green Climate Fund. So, that is that the blended finance, that means grant, the grant component and loan component, that is I mean that forwarded by the DFCC bank, right, that is for loan component, but the grant component is doing by the Food and Agriculture Organization. So, that is one project. In addition, there are many projects actually. Now we are I mean that we are preparing GCF readiness private sector working group on working group activities and plantation and agroforestry sector. So, we are writing the project for the Green Climate Fund, and also so national determined contribution. So, to update agriculture and to update NDCs for agriculture, for livestock and fishery sector. So, FOE is supporting to for these activities. So, those are that some activities is doing for the global action, and that fund to get funds for the for Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much, Mr. Premala. With that, we are going to wind up our discussion, because we discussed many areas related to the food security and the current weather patterns and challenging weather systems, as well as the challenging situations in Sri Lanka related to climate change. So, we planning to meet you in another discussion similar to this type of topic under the climate change and disaster risk reduction. Thank you very much for being with us. Good night.
Okay, thank you.